Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I've been listening to this debate very carefully over the evening, and I've got to say I have some sympathy for the propositions being put up opposite, but on balance, I think the Minister has probably got this about right. And I think deep in the hearts of the opposition members, they know just that. I've never been able to work out why someone would be excluded from jury service at age 65. Mr. Speaker, some of our best, hardest working, most productive citizens and role model leaders in the community are working at 65, and some even in this Parliament, Mr. Speaker. But the point I'm making is having some experience and an observation. The experience is when I served this Parliament in a small rural provincial town in Northland and Whangarei, one of the great problems with running jury trials in that city at that time was the pool of people available for jury service. The pool of people available for jury service. And it was an eye-opening exercise to go to the local district court or high court, as it is both, in Whangarei any day of the week and witness the people that were herded to the court for jury service. And as an observation, Mr. Chairman, I can only conclude that most of them would have far preferred to be somewhere else. And the problem with wanting to be somewhere else, if a person on a jury wants to be somewhere else, I put it to you, Mr. Chairman and Minister, they're not going to serve the interests of the court system at all well. And I have this view, listening to the debate tonight from both sides of the House, and I respect the opposition to some of the provisions, but I have this view that the jury service in this country will only work if those that step up for jury service or are called upon jury service, there's a good chance that they will be interested in exercising their public duty in the way that the jury service has worked for so long. Because, as I said, Mr. Chairman, if you have a look at some of the people on the jury, I don't take away from them as being good human persons, but not most of them, some of them are unqualified for jury service in a perfect world, and many of them certainly don't want to be involved in jury service in a perfect world. And indeed, I witnessed first-hand in rural provincial Whangarei, some of them rocking up to the court for jury service should have been some part of the court but not on the jury benches. I put it to you as an observation. So I can never understand, for instance, I heard from the learned lawyers opposite about a lawyer can't be available for jury service. A member of Parliament, I presume a Minister of Police, I presume a former Minister of Police like the Minister and the Chair couldn't be available for jury service. By the way, the best Minister we've had for Police since the member for Whangarei, the previous member for Whangarei. But I can never understand, though, Mr. Chairman, if a lawyer was retired at age 65, 66, 67, 68, and we know some particularly sharp-brained lawyers in the community at a loose end that have retired early, because 65 is early these days, have retired, I put it to you, they would make excellent jurors and they would be well qualified to do very good jury service, because it would be my knowledge that most lawyers, like the member opposite, the spokesman for justice opposite, if he was 65, I have no doubt that he would discharge his obligation to jury service with distinction. And I think some of these exemptions, Mr. Chairman, we should be careful about, because there's no doubt about it for people listening, for the 360 people watching on television tonight, for instance, or might be 361 now and going south. I put it to you, Mr. Chairman, some of the provisions that we've got here by way of negotiation are sound and sensible. So the provision that you can opt out at 65 and the provision that you can come back in at 75, as long as you seek to do jury service, makes sense to me. And I do agree with the proposition from the other side of the House as to why we haven't done this previously. So, Mr. Chairman, can I conclude by saying this to the Minister? This bill is well overdue. For the purposes of the courts to work effectively, jury services must be robust, they must be accountable, they must be transparent, and we must get the pool as big as we can, and this will do that.
Members, the question is that Clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that Clause 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that Clause 3 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report this bill with amendment.
The House has resumed. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Biosecurity Law Reform Bill and reports it with amendment. The committee has also considered the Commerce Commission International Cooperation and Fees Bill and reports it with amendment and split into the following bills: Commerce, International Cooperation and Fees Amendment Bill, Credit Contracts and Consumer Finance International Cooperation Amendment Bill, Fair Trading International Cooperation Amendment Bill, Telecommunications International Cooperation Amendment Bill. The committee has also considered the Jury Service and Protection of Particulars of Jury List Information Amendment Bill and reports it with amendment. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. These bills are set down for third reading next sitting day. Call on Government of the Day number